Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey. We're live. We're live and direct on Facebook. We thought we'd do a quick impromptu live so you can get to know us and get to know what we've got going on. I'm Bolaji.
And for me,
But before we get into it, roll the clip. Hey, hey. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for being here. As we said, we thought we'd do a very quick live. You've probably been seeing some stuff on our pages. We've been posting some content, and we thought, you know what? Let's go live. Let's let people know what's going on. So, thank you for joining. We are streaming this live onto Facebook, but if you are watching it on the replay, and you may be watching it on YouTube as well. So, if you're watching this live, do us a favor, let us know. Put a hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, do us a favor and put hashtag FB replay in the comments. And if you happen to be watching this by the time we've streamed this onto YouTube, please put a comment and just say hashtag YouTube. Let us know that you are here. Okay, so who are we?
so as we said, I'm Fumi, this is Bolaji. We are Christians. We are also a husband and wife team, and we are about to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary. We are parents. We have two beautiful girls who are nearly 1 and nearly 6, and we are serial digital entrepreneurs.
Yep. And you would have seen from our pages, we've got these big gaping banners that talks about we help coaches. So we wanted to explain why how did that come about and what's the big deal with coaching. So why we love coaching. So first of all, as Fumi said, we are Christians and it really aligns with our belief system. So as Christians, we're called to serve, right? We're called to edify, and ultimately being the salt and light of the earth, we're called to make the world better and make people's lives improved from interacting with us. So that's a great thing about coaching because as a coach, you're using your skills, your gifts, and your expertise to transform someone's life for the better. So it's just so rewarding. And then on top of that, getting paid for it is just icing on the cake. And some people may or may not know, but there is a massive market opportunity when it comes to coaching. So coaching is one of those, professions that falls into what's referred to as the knowledge industry. And the knowledge industry is booming. It is projected to hit $1 billion per day by, I don't want to get the date wrong, but soon. And even, right now it's valued at about, I think, 243 billion. Either way, it's a great industry to be in. And, for those who have the right sort of skill set, meaning you have a gift and you have expertise, which is really mostly anyone, it's a great place to earn money as well.
Yeah.
So how did we get into coaching?
Well, we've always been in this space, operating in some sort of coaching and mentoring capacity, through things like church. With Bolaji's background as a project manager of 20 years, he also was into career coaching, helping people get into the project management careers. Myself, I have a background as a fitness coach, and we also have a digital marketing agency. Now, all of that combined is what led us to become coaches, right? To help other people to get into the space and to launch their businesses.
That's right. Now, before we continue, you might have noticed that we're not speaking at the top of our voices. Now, this is because life is real. We run this business as Fumi says, a husband and wife team in the context of a family setting. Right now, our eldest daughter is downstairs having a sleepover with her besties. And then we're actually in her room right now. And in the room next to us, our youngest, almost 1-year-old daughter is sleeping. So, we're doing our best not to wake up the baby, right? So that's why we're not talking super, super loud. Yeah, okay, so, but the real reason we wanted to kind of get on here today, the thing we wanted to really talk about is if you're a coach, right? So if you are a coach and you're watching this, chances are you may not be making consistent sales. So you've probably sold one or two of your program, but struggle to regularly monetize. And you've tried going on challenges and masterminds and various different trainings, but for whatever reason, you still haven't found your rhythm. And what you really need is that essence of confidence, right? So it's yeah, our experience from sales is people really feed off your energy. And if there's something off about your energy when you're speaking to somebody, they can be like, you're just not giving off confidence. And we've termed this thing high ticket energy, right? And we're going to explain what that means. So the concept of high ticket energy is really a series of things that when you have them, all of them, you have the confidence to really show up as a coach, as somebody who can make sales of your program. Now, when I say high ticket energy, you're probably thinking, I'm referring to something like, bravado, extrovertedness, and obnoxiousness. But it's not even that. We're going against the typical teaching of the gurus, where it's like, oh, you've got to be one thing. You have to have this type of thing, and then you will have the confidence. Or you've got to be this type of person. But we really believe that as human beings, we are rounded individuals. So it really comes down to having a series of things in varying proportions. And when you have the right proportion of those things, you get the confidence. So let's explain in a nutshell the things that constitute the high ticket energy.
So first of all, you need to have a transformation. You need to have a process that's going to be applied to giving your clients that transformation. You need to have outcomes. You need to have a go-to market strategy. You need to have your values, your unique essence, intelligent scaling, and all of those things combined will give you confidence.
That's right. That's right. So you probably recognize a number of those things in terms of like they're quite intuitive, but some of them might need a bit of explanation. So we're going to proceed now to explain in a bit more detail each of those things. So speaking of transformation first, this is one of the most important things in a coaching, business person's just way of working, because transformation is one of those things that everybody goes through transformation. And as a coach, you yourself would have gone through a transformation of before you were here, right? And then you have now, transformed into something better. You've developed yourself. You've experienced a higher sense of self. And then that's the transformation that you want to give or deliver to your clients. So your ability to clearly describe this positive change that happens when clients work with you is going to be important. But the key thing is it's got to be something they actually desire, right? So this requires you to dig a little deeper than surface level. And we break it down into kind of like three categories: who, what, and why. So who, you've got to be as specific as possible in terms of who it is that you're actually trying to reach out to. Narrow it down to minute level. What is the result they want to achieve? Don't be vague, don't be generalistic, don't be abstract. What is the specific result that they will achieve? And then, what is the, in terms of why, like what's that thing that's holding them back from being who they know that they can be, right? And how can you help them with that? That gives a sense of the purpose, the actual transformation that they're going to have. So that's a good way of really coining and articulating transformation to your clients.
Now, next thing is process. So people don't just need to know what you can do, right? They also need to have a sense of the structure that you're going to apply to those steps and the process that you're going to take them through. And they want to see that you have thought it out and that it makes logical sense. So it does help them to then position your program as more than just this concept that might be a bit abstract to them, and really more of a structured delivery so they can clearly see what they are to expect. And we have 9 pillars that kind of go into what constitutes a process to really show you how to lay out your program. So the first thing you want to do is have a clear time frame to your program. Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? Make sure that you know that upfront. And what is the pathway that somebody's going to go through? So what are a series of steps that you're going to take somebody through to make sure that they achieve that transformation that you have, that they desire? What kind of communication will you be having with your clients? Where will you be talking to them on a regular basis? How frequently? What kind of resources will you be providing as part of your program? Will there be downloads? Will there be videos? Will there be live interaction with yourself? What sort of support will you be giving your clients? Will it be every day on WhatsApp? Will it be via Slack? You have to choose the level of support that you're going to be given. Then there always needs to be some sort of accountability, because in a coaching relationship, you want to make sure that the people that you're working with are accountable to you to actually get the things done in the parts that they have to play in their transformation. And then obviously there's coaching. What does your coaching look like? Will it be one-to-one, one-to-many? Is it going to be live coaching? You need to have a think about what that looks like in your process. How will you get feedback from your coachees, and how will you give feedback to them as well as part of your process? And then lastly, something that's really important in all coaching relationships is that community. What kind of community are you building with your coaching clients?
Okay. And then what's really important is outcomes. So you need to have a clearly defined transformational result, but you need to also articulate the deliverables that your client is going to get when working with you, right? So the transformational result, articulate the beneficial change. But one of the things that you really need to get good at communicating is benefits. So you can get into a habit of saying, oh, my program has this and I'll do this and you'll get that and blah, 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 blah. But always think about it from a point of view of, like, what's in it for your client? Put yourself in your client's or your prospect's shoes and think about, if you were them, you'd be thinking, what is in it for me? Always describe the things included in your program from a point of view of how it makes your client's life better. And a way you can do that is, you can follow a type of format that goes, you will get this, or one of the features is this, and this, so you'll have this feature so that your life will be better in this way. So you can say, you will get one-to-one coaching every week so that you have a regular accountability and a regular checkpoint to make sure that you don't fall off track, right? So always talk about it from a point of view of how it benefits your client.
Yeah, so good, so good. And the next thing we need is a go-to-market strategy, right? It's all well and good to have a wonderful offer, but if you're not marketing it effectively and you're not getting the right attention from your ideal client, you are going to struggle to make sales, right? So you need to really think about, what does your go-to-market strategy look like? What traffic sources will you use to get people to see your offers? What kind of content will you use to speak to ideal clients? Will you have a launch schedule, and what is that going to look like? Which platforms will you use to market yourself, to drive traffic? These are the things that are really, really important. What sort of tech setup will you need? So again, thinking about, is it minimal tech? Will you need to outsource that? What is that going to look like in your business? What documentation will you need for your sales? What kind of research do you actually need to do in your industry? What CRM or client relationship management system will you use to keep track of all your interactions? And lastly, but definitely not the least important one, is the follow-up, right? A saying that is not a saying just for the sake of being a saying. A very important one is that the sale is in the follow-up. So it's really, really key and really important for you to have a tight follow-up in your go-to-market strategy to make sure that you're following up with any leads to try and close that sale.
That's right. No lead should be left behind. And one other thing about the go-to-market strategy is there is no one size fits all. And I really want to drum this home, because when you might speak to some gurus and some coaches, you'll get a sense that the only way that I can make success of my sales in my coaching business is if I was to do this. And so someone else will say the only way that you can make success of your coaching sales is if you were to do that. And then someone else will say the only way that you can make success of your coaching business is if you did the other thing. Now, in all honesty, all of those things potentially can work. Maybe they'll work, who knows? But it's all about understanding how to think laterally, how to think critically, to understand the principles of what a go-to-market strategy should have, and then layer them against what is your current situation. What can you do? What do you have the resource, capacity, and appetite to do? And then work out a game plan that puts them all together in a coherent way. Okay, so values. So people naturally gravitate towards other people who they resonate with. Your belief system, your outlook, your life outlook, your value system, these play a big part in achieving resonance with your prospects. It's always better to experience, it's always a better experience for all parties when you're working with people that you enjoy working with, right? So have you ever been in a situation, I know that in the corporate world, I've been in situations where I have to do my job, but like I don't really like that person, and I don't really get along with that person, but I'm here, I've got to do it. It's not an enjoyable experience. But I've also experienced the other side. Now, when we work with clients where we really enjoy working with our clients, we love our clients, they're part of our family, and we are galvanized together by the same values, right? So your values consist of beliefs, morals, life experiences, your faith, potentially your political views, your hobbies, your interests, what you're watching on television, what you're being entertained by, the music that you're listening to. All of these things form your values.
That's right. And the next thing that you really need to have is your unique essence. So in a world where everyone is telling you to do it this way or that way, it's really easy for you to forget that you have your own unique makeup. You are an individual person. So throughout your life, you've developed skills in lots of different endeavors, and you know that these skills are, or you may not know that these skills are transferable. Now, the key is to understand best practices and then add the things which make you you. And this will set you apart from your competitors, because no one can be you, and that is your, if you've heard the say, your unique superpower.
That's right.
So the things that make up your unique essence are your character, your sense of humor, right? We all know that it's much easier to convey the kind of person you are through the sense of humor, right? Your natural ability, your tone of voice, right? Is it friendly? Is it hostile? Is it, there's lots of different ways to characterize this. What are your gifts and your talents? And then always your life experiences. Don't forget about those.
Yes. Okay, now this one might need some explaining. So intelligent scaling. So how am I going to break this down? It's important for you to consider yourself as a CEO. So as an entrepreneur, it can be hard, because you consider yourself to wear all of the hats. But the key is you've got to wear all the hats initially, maybe, so that you know what's required in all areas of the business. But you need to quickly gain an understanding of which are the areas that are critical to scaling, and build a business model in such a way so that you can delegate and outsource core areas of your business to achieve consistent results in the long term. So, you need to really think of yourself as an organization, and there are functions that your organization needs: lead generation, appointment setting, funnel creation, potentially paid advertising, maybe organic marketing, your delivery, outsourcing. If you can have a sense of compartmentalization where, yes, you're wearing all the hats initially, and yes, you're doing, the work, but like begin to build either a team or build an infrastructure so that you can know, okay, I need more resources on my appointment scaling because I've got more capacity to do more jobs, or I'm getting so many jobs right now that I need more capacity on my delivery, so I need to bolster that area up. So this is what I mean by intelligent scaling. I don't mean scale like immediately, but I mean have the mind to scale from the beginning, and build your business model in a way that affords for easy scaling in the future. So when you've kind of got all of those things in place, right, or you've got the right combination of all of those things in place, then that's where you're at your sweet spot, and you've got the high ticket energy that you need, right? So it's easy to find yourself saying things like, I'm not confident like that other person, or they're more outgoing than me, or even I'm just not a salesy person. Like, it's not about any of that. Once you have belief, then confidence is an intention. confidence can be engineered, right? And if you make an effort to embody the pillars of high ticket energy, confidence comes as a natural result. So I think that's what that's kind of what we wanted to go through in this presentation. Now, we do have a program and it's called the Dream Client Conversion Game Plan, but we're not going to talk too much about it on this live. We're going to have other lives and you'll see other content pieces. But today we just wanted to jump on to get you to know a little bit about us, get to know our philosophy around, high ticket energy. And yeah, just kind of hang out with you guys. So thank you for watching. Hope it's been useful. This was high ticket energy. This is just a summary of what it is again. So
just to summarize, so we have transformation, we have your process, your outcomes, your go-to-market strategy, your values, your unique essence, intelligent scaling, and confidence.
Yeah. That's high ticket energy, y'all. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to look forward to interacting with you more and look out for more updates on our program. If there's any coaches who are interested, give us a shout. But we're going to sign out now. We're going to love you and leave you. Take care and God bless.